Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish series stars. Today we're diving into a topic that has swept across sets, dressing rooms, and fan pages like a sudden storm. It's the kind of rumor that makes even the most seasoned insiders pause, the kind that draws a collective breath from millions who feel like they know these lives as if they were their own. The whispers say something few expected and many still refuse to believe. The conversation is about Mahassine Merabet, and the possibility that she might be stepping away from the screen. Not a hiatus announced with a glossy press release, not a neat pause between seasons, but a true retreat from the treadmill that made her a household name. Today we're going to untangle the noise, sift through what's been said, what's been left unsaid, and what this crossroads could mean for her career, for her life with Jenk Torun, and for those who have followed every scene, every red carpet, every candid smile. Before we wade into the heart of it, a quick reminder: if you love staying current with the stories behind the spotlight, make sure you're subscribed to Turkish series stars and that notifications are on. We're here to bring you what people are really talking about, with the care and detail you deserve. Now, onto the story that has everyone on edge. The idea that Mahassine Merabet might retire has struck like a lightning bolt. She's one of those rare presences who can command a frame without saying a word, a star who navigated romantic primetime hits and daring character studies with the same poise. Across Turkey and beyond, people have fallen in love with her versatility, her elegance, and that poised calm that makes you lean in a little closer. Her work took her from big commercial projects to intimate sets where scripts felt like diary pages, and each time she seemed to carry a private world behind her eyes. That's exactly why the rumor has been so jarring. It's hard to imagine that kind of steadiness choosing silence after so much motion. As of this moment, there is no official announcement from Mahassine or her team. No statement stamped with a signature, no definitive line drawn across her calendar. What we do have are overlapping hints, industry chatter from people who usually stay quiet, social media threads that begin with a question and spiral into a chorus, a handful of articles that sound confident but lean on unnamed sources. The same lines appear again and again. She's tired, she wants to reshape her career, she's thinking about stepping back from relentless visibility to guard something more private, more tender, more hers. And if we're honest, none of those reasons are far-fetched. The rhythm of television can be punishing. The days are long, the lights are hot, the online conversation never sleeps. Months get eaten by a role, weeks disappear into night shoots and dawn calls that shuffle into each other until you forget what Sunday looks like. You carry a character's grief or joy as if it were yours, and when you finally do get home, it takes time to shake the dust off. Add to that the magnifying glass of public life, every look, every word, every dinner out turned into a headline, and it's not hard to imagine how a person might feel the need to breathe, to step outside the loop and remember who they were before the applause and the scrutiny. Another line of speculation points in a different direction: reinvention. There are those who say Mahassine has been curious about film in a deeper way, not just stepping from one polished screenplay to another, but choosing independent projects that let her explore grief, identity, humor, and power with a different kind of freedom. Others have mentioned directing or producing, building a body of work from behind the monitor where she could set the pace and shape the stories that reach us. People close to her have always described her as someone who prepares meticulously, who listens before she speaks, who wants the work to live in the world with intention. For an artist like that, the idea of leaving the constant churn of weekly TV and investing in fewer, more personal projects isn't just plausible, it makes a kind of quiet, resonant sense. And then there is her life with Jenk Torun. The two of them have become a portrait of something rare in this business. A partnership that feels grounded. He's a veteran with his own legacy, a steady presence who understands what the camera takes and what it gives back, a man known for professionalism, restraint, and a protective streak when it comes to those he loves. Their relationship has always looked like a private agreement to keep the loudest parts of the industry at arm's length. Recent months have brought talk of a wedding that was intimate rather than extravagant, a ceremony wrapped in soft light and trusted faces rather than photographers' flashes. If that is true, It isn't hard to imagine why a woman like Mahassine might want to make room for it, to build a home life that isn't constantly barged into by rumors and obligations, to choose dinners that don't end with phone alerts and mornings that aren't dictated by call sheets. Those who claim to know insist that any decision to step back would be hers alone, timed on her terms, shaped with Cenk's support rather than pushed by outside pressure. And that's important. People forget that equations like these don't come down only to career charts and audience figures. They also carry the weight of wanting to be present, to enjoy the quiet ordinary moments that fame inevitably taxes. Think about choosing to stay in on a Friday night, away from the lens, the two of them cooking, exchanging stories about scenes and scripts and future dreams that don't have to be articulated on demand. It's a picture that stretches beyond the glamour and lands on something simple and deeply human. Of course, if Mahassine were to step away now, it would leave a real emptiness. Colleagues who have worked with her describe an energy that pulls a cast upward. Directors talk about the way she shows up early, how she takes the time to find the rhythm of a scene, how she can soften a tense room with a look and a few measured words. Viewers, for their part, would lose a familiar anchor, the face that greeted them week after week, the arc they carried in their hearts between episodes. Around the world, diaspora communities and international fans have connected with her in a way that transcends language, sharing edits, translating interviews, building little online gardens where her scenes grow into something communal. Losing that from the TV landscape would feel, to many, like turning the page on a chapter they weren't ready to finish. If you scroll through comment sections today, you'll spot a split, but it isn't jagged. There's sadness, yes. The kind that feels like saying goodbye to a friend who doesn't even know you by name. But there's also an outpouring of empathy. People repeat a similar refrain, "Do what you need to do, we'll be here when and if you return." They send encouragement not just to Mahassine, but to Cenk as well, acknowledging how difficult it is to make choices in public, and how deeply personal this one must be. You can sense something rare in those messages, a mindfulness that understands fame is not a shield against exhaustion, and that love can be a reason to rearrange priorities. There is also the very real possibility that what's coming isn't a permanent farewell, but a recalibration. In this industry, exits are often pauses dressed up in dramatic language. Artists step away to study, to reclaim their center, to start a family, to travel, to read, to get bored enough to crave the thrill of a set again. They return with new edges, with fresh curiosity, with the ability to say no to the wrong projects and yes to the ones that will stretch them. If that's what this is, if this rumor is really about scale and not a full stop, then fans may be in for a new era of Mahassine's work, one that doesn't chase trends but sets them, one that threads together her taste, her heritage, her discipline, and the steady compass of a life with Cenk that keeps her grounded. Let's consider the industry impact if the retirement talk does materialize. Networks would feel the loss immediately. Casting boards are filled with names, but there are only a handful of actors whose presence shifts the market. International buyers ask for them by name, directors rework scenes to suit their strengths, young actors learn what professionalism looks like by watching them work. Without her, a certain kind of romantic drama becomes harder to pull off with the same credibility. Production teams would have to rethink slates, recalibrate expectations, maybe even take risks on new formats because a central, reliable figure is no longer available every season. And yet, her imprint is already secure. The characters she built, elegant but tough, graceful but iron-backed, have burrowed into viewers' memories. There are scenes people will always pull up late at night because they feel understood by them. There are lines that have become quiet mantras for those who needed a nudge to demand more, to love better, to leave when it was time. That kind of legacy doesn't dissolve because an artist steps back. If anything, it becomes clearer. You see the arc of a body of work. You notice the choices. You realize that influence isn't just about exposure, it's about how deeply you reach into someone's life and rearrange their courage. All of this leaves us, for now, in a liminal space. We wait. We listen for that definitive word from Mahassine or from the people authorized to speak for her. We watch for whether Cenk appears beside her when that moment comes, whether the words carry the serene decisiveness we associate with her, whether she gestures toward projects that look different from what came before. Until then, speculating can only take us so far. What we can do is honor the artist by not turning her into an algorithmic storyline, and honor the woman by allowing her the privacy to make a decision that belongs to her. If the rumor proves true, it will be a turning point. Turkish television will have to reckon with the departure of a central figure, and a generation of fans will learn, once again, that careers evolve and that love sometimes reorders the calendar. If it proves false, the conversation will still have revealed something important, that the audience cares not just about the work, but about the person doing it, about her health, her choices, and her happiness with the man who has become her safest place. For those who ask what comes next if she leaves, the possibilities are surprisingly bright. We could see her behind the camera, shaping performances with the wisdom of someone who knows what it feels like to stand on the mark and deliver. We could see her appear rarely but powerfully in film, the kind of roles that appear once a year and leave an entire festival talking. We might see her merging fashion and storytelling, mentoring new voices, or creating space for stories that would have never made it onto a set without her insisting on them. And we might simply see her choosing life's quieter gifts, more mornings at home, more shared laughter with Cenk, more conversations that don't need to be posted. None of those futures are small. They're different, yes, but not smaller. So where does that leave us, the fans, the watchers, the ones who have scheduled weeknights around premieres and built friendships in comment threads? It leaves us with a task that sounds simple but isn't always easy: support without demand. It means holding our breath a little and letting her decide when to exhale. It means remembering that artists owe us the work they choose to give, not the shape we insist it takes. To bring this all together, the rumor of Mahassine Merabet's retirement surprised many and stirred everyone. There's no official confirmation as of now, but the talk points toward three possibilities: burnout from a grueling pace, a hunger to explore different creative pathways, and a desire to give more of herself to a life with Jenk Torun that feels steady, private, and fiercely protected. If she does step away, it will alter the landscape. If she returns, it will likely be on terms that feel more deliberate, more personal. Either way, the work she's already given is indelible, and the affection we feel for her is not conditional on constant output. Thank you for spending this time with us. Your thoughts matter here. Tell us what you make of all this. Do you believe Mahassine is ready to close one chapter and write the next away from the rush, or do you think this is a pause before a brave reinvention? What kind of projects would you hope to see if she chooses to come back: intimate films, bold auteur-led series, or a complete turn into directing? Share your perspective in the comments. And if you found this conversation thoughtful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Turkish series stars so you don't miss the updates when they finally arrive. We'll be watching, we'll be listening, and above all, we'll be rooting for happiness. For the artist we admire, and for the couple whose quiet strength has become a story of its own.